Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I am looking forward to in 2025. So, another year gone, but another new year of books on the horizon, another batch of books that I am really looking forward to. So, yeah, I have found 10 books that really sparked my interest that hopefully I get around to in the upcoming year. And I'm going to be sitting here looking down at my laptop, and I'm going to be reading off of these synopsises for these books. So that way, if you guys think they sound good, you can add them to your Goodreads right now as I am doing this. And I'm sitting here looking at the 10 books that I picked out, and I swear I believe it is all historical fiction, you guys. It is pretty much all historical fiction, except for I think I have a nonfiction book in there, and then something that is contemporary, and that's it. But hey, I love historical fiction. I'm not gonna, deny myself my love of historical fiction. So yeah, let's get going here, you guys. My first book that I'm excited for at some point here in 2025, The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Yes, I always look forward to a new Sylvia Moreno Garcia book, you guys. Back then, when I was a young woman, there were still witches. That was how Nana Alba always began the stories she told her great-granddaughter Minerva, stories that have stayed with Minerva all her life. Perhaps that's why Minerva has become a graduate student focused on the history of horror literature and is researching the life of Beatrice Tremblay, an obscure author of macabre tales. Ooh. In the course of assembling her thesis, Minerva uncovers information that reveals that Tremblay's most famous novel, The Vanishing, was inspired by true events decades earlier, during the Great Depression. Tremblay attended the same university where Minerva is now studying and became obsessed with her beautiful and otherworldly roommate, and then disappeared under mysterious circumstances. As Minerva descends ever deeper into Tremblay's manuscript, she begins to sense that the malign force that stalked Tremblay and the missing girl might still walk the halls of the campus. These disturbing events also echo the stories Nana Alba told about her girlhood in 1900s Mexico, where she had a terrifying encounter with a witch. Minerva suspects that the same shadow that darkened the lives of her great-grandmother and Beatrice Tremblay is now threatening her own in 1990s Massachusetts. An academic career can be a punishing pursuit, but it might turn outright deadly when witchcraft is evolved. So yeah, at the very top of the synopsis for this book, it did say something about this is a multi-generational horror saga. So we're going to have our main character, and then like whatever's going on with her grandmother in the past, and then yeah, this mysterious author, it sounds like. So this sounds super good, you guys. And yeah, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, I think she does horror so wonderfully. Next up, Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Van Veen. I love the design, the book cover design of this book, you guys. It's just so wonderfully interesting. The Netherlands, 1887. Lucy's twin sister Sarah is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse recently discovered on her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition. But it's clear her twin is hiding something. Then again, Lucy is harboring secrets of her own too. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the strange. She becomes angry and hungry. Lucy soon comes to suspect that something is trying to possess her beloved sister. Or is it madness? As Sarah changes before her very eyes, Lucy must reckon with the dark, monstrous truth or risk losing her forever. And, over here on Goodreads, I kind of hate that Goodreads, in the tags underneath the synopsis, it says something about vampires. So it kind of sounds like this book might be about vampires, and I'm kind of a little upset that the tags have kind of spoiled that, to be quite honest. Because from the synopsis, I don't think I would have totally maybe got that this was about vampires. I think I would have preferred to go into this book not knowing that. But either way, I'm here for it. Next up, Victorian Psycho, by Virginia Fito. Winifred Naughty arrives at Ensor House prepared to play the perfect Victorian governess. She'll dutifully tutor her charges, Drusilla and Andrew, tell them bedtime stories, and only joke about eating children. But the longer Winifred spends within the estate's dreary confines, and the more she learns of the perversions and pathetic preoccupations of the Pounds family, the more trouble she has sticking to her plan. Whether creeping across the moonlit lawns in her undergarments or gently tormenting the house staff, Winifred struggles at every turn to stifle the horrid compulsion of her past. When her chillingly dark imagination breaches the feeble boundary of reality on Christmas morning, Winifred is finally ready to deliver on her generous gifts. Yeah, this sounds suitably creepy and wonderful, you guys, taking place in the Victorian era. And yeah, this cover, oh, it just gives me chills looking at this cover because it's so creepy looking. Next up, The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. A diary written in 1912 by a Lutheran pastor is discovered within a wall. What it unveils is a slow massacre, a chain of events that go back to 217 Blackfeet dead in the snow, told in transcribed interviews by a Blackfeet named Goodstab, who shares the narrative of his peculiar life over a series of confessional visits. This is an American Indian revenge story written by one of the new masters of horror, Stephen Graham Jones. Oh yes, this sounds really wonderfully creepy and interesting as well. So yeah, something's going to happen in 1912. And we're going to get diary entries, it sounds like. I love that sort of thing. And something crazy has happened. Next up, this is book 4 in the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney series, The Rushworth Family Plot by Claudia Gray. Yeah, so far 3 books of this series have been published. I have loved and enjoyed all 3 books. I'm definitely excited for this 4th installment and seeing where things go. Yeah, these books are kind of standalone, so I'll go ahead and read the plot synopsis for it because I don't think it's going to spoil anything from the previous books whatsoever. Jonathan Darcy and Juliet Tilney understand each other perfectly. It's a pity that their families do not. A series of misunderstandings, misplaced pride, and indeed prejudice has led their parents to deem the pair unsuited to wed. Now, with the season approaching, Juliet has been sent to London with a new wardrobe in order to prove herself worthy of someone better than the snobby Darcys. Meanwhile, Jonathan has been forced to accept an invitation to stay with old friends, Edmund and Fanny Bertram, at the house of Edmund's brother, Sir Thomas. Oblivious to and undesiring of female attention other than Juliet's, Jonathan is in danger of being ensnared by Caroline Bingley's plans to make herself or her daughter mistress of Pemberley. But when the former husband of Edmund's sister Maria, Mr. Rushworth, is discovered dead, Jonathan and Juliet find themselves with problems far weightier than the marriage market. Ooh. And one of the greatest scandals of its day, Maria abandoned her husband for the notorious rake Henry Crawford, and when he wouldn't marry her, was forced to flee to the continent in disgrace. Now Maria is back with a daughter she claims Mr. Rushworth fathered after their divorce, and who he wrote into his will just before his death. Now Jonathan and Juliet must unmask a killer before the drama surrounding the Rushworth family fortune claims another victim. Yes, this one definitely sounds super good. You guys, like I said, I can't wait to get to this next installment in the series. Next up, The Girls of the Glimmer Factory by Jennifer Coburn. Hannah longs for the days when she used to be free, but now she is a Jewish prisoner at Theresienstadt, a motto ghetto where the Nazis plan to make a propaganda film to convince the world that the Jewish people are living well in the camps. But Hannah will do anything to show the world the truth. Along with other young resistance members, they vow to disrupt the filming and derail the increasingly frequent deportations to death camps in the East. Hild is a true believer in the Nazi cause, oh dear, girl, working in the Reich Ministry of Enlightenment and Propaganda. Though they're losing the war, Hild hasn't lost faith. She can't stop the Allied bombings, but she can help the party create a documentary that will renew confidence in Hitler's plans for Jewish containment. When the filming, this is a weird sentence structure. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here on Goodreads. When the filming faces production problems, I'll say, due to resistance, Hild finds herself in a position to finally make a name for herself. And when she recognizes Hannah, an old childhood friend, she knows she can use their friendship to get the film back on track. Oh, Lord. And yeah, I mean, this is a real thing going on historically back in World War II, you know, the Nazi propaganda films, and yeah, showing Jewish prisoners like, hey, everything's great, and it's not. Next up, Let's Call Her Barbie by Renee Rosen. And this cover is just so pink. You guys, it's so wonderfully pink. When Ruth Handler walks into the boardroom of the toy company she co-founded and pitches her idea for a doll unlike any other, she knows what she's setting in motion. It might just take the world a moment to catch up. In 1956, the only dolls on the market for little girls let them pretend to be mothers. Ruth's vision for a doll shaped like a grown woman and outfitted in an and outfitted in an enviable, I can speak, guys, wardrobe, will let them dream they can be anything. As Ruth assembles her team of creative rebels, head engineer Jack Ryan, who hides his deepest secrets behind his genius, and designers Charlotte Johnson and Stevie Klein, whose hopes and dreams rest on the success of Barbie's fashion, she knows they're working against a ticking clock to let this wild idea off the ground. In the decades to come, through soaring heights and devastating personal lows, public scandals, and private tensions, each of them will have to decide how tightly to hold on to their creation, because Barbie has never been just a doll. She's a legacy. Oh, so yeah, it's like this book of historical fiction is coming out, right after the popularity of that Barbie movie and whatnot, which I still need to see, you guys. I have yet to see the Barbie movie. Oh my god, I need to watch it. Next up, I have a Disney book on this list, you guys. I can't believe I have a Disney book. But I'm just really excited about this one in particular. It's called Bemused by Farah Rashan. And this is going to be a book focused on the muses in the Hercules cartoon, you guys. And I was like, hell yes, because I love the muses in that cartoon. Living in a quiet seaside village with their overprotective mother, teenage sisters Calliope, Cleo, Melpomene, Terpsichore, and Thalia, I'm going to have to learn those pronunciations, are talented performers with no audience. If Callie had her way, she'd pursue her dream of writing epic stories in the city of Thebes. But family comes first, and as the eldest, she'd never leave her beloved sisters behind. Then, following a disastrous public music performance, their mother reveals a shocking secret. She is Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory, and for nearly 2 decades she's been on the run from the gods of Mount Olympus, desperate to keep her daughters safe from their machinations. Before she can share more, she is kidnapped, and though the girls don't know it yet, the villain pulling the strings is none other than Hades, fiery god of the underworld. Under Callie's leadership, the sisters embark on a journey to save their mother and to learn more about their own divine origins. But the path ahead is filled with mythical trials and tribulations, and they'll need to rely on both their individual talents and the strength of their sisterhood to ensure that they ascend from zeros to heroes, or more accurately, heroines. So yeah, this is pretty much an origin story to the muses on the Disney cartoon Hercules, how they're going to become, I guess, the muses, I suppose. But yeah, I just thought this was a neat idea, because all of the Disney books that I have read and bought in the past, they're pretty much all entirely focused either on A, the princesses, or B, the villains. So I like that this book is focusing on, some other characters that have never gotten any sort of spotlight in, like, Disney books. Next up, The Favorites by Lane Fargo. And yeah, this is the only contemporary book on my list. She might not have a famous name, funding, or her family's support, but Katarina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath Roca, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. Clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives, Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship, until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. Oh my god, what happens? As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public obsession with Shaw and Roca, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy either. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story, from the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. Yes, one of my favorite sports at the Olympic Games is figure skating, ice dancing, whatever you want to call it. That's one of my favorite sports. So yeah, anytime I see a book or a TV show, movie, whatever, and it's focused on figure skating, I always gravitate towards that. So yeah, this sounds super great. I can't wait to get to this. And the last book that I have that I'm looking forward to in 2025, this is a work of non-fiction. This is The Rebel Romanov, Julie of Saxe-Coburg, The Empress Russia Never Had, by Helen Rappaport. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Helen Rappaport is one of those non-fiction writers. She just has a really easy way with how she writes nonfiction, and I'm never overwhelmed, I'm never confused, I'm never bored. So I'm really looking forward to this. In 1795, Catherine the Great of Russia was in search of a bride for her grandson Constantine, who stood third in line to the throne. In an eerie echo of her own story, Catherine selected an innocent young German princess, Julie of Saxe-Coburg, aunt of the future Queen Victoria. Though Julie had everything a young bride could wish for, she was alone in a court dominated by an aging empress and riven with rivalries, plotting, and gossip, not to mention her brute of a husband, who was tender one moment and violent the next. She longed to leave Russia and her disastrous marriage, but her family in Germany refused to allow her to do so. Desperate for love, Julie allegedly sought consolation in the arms of others. Finally, Tsar Alexander granted her permission to leave in 1801, even though her husband was now heir to the throne. Rootless in Europe, Julie gave birth to two, possibly three, illegitimate children, all of whom she was forced to give up for adoption. Despite entreaties from Constantine to return and provide an heir, she refused, eventually finding love with her own married physician. At a time when many royal brides meekly submitted to disastrous marriages, Julie proved to be a woman ahead of her time, sacrificing her reputation and life of luxury in exchange for the freedom to live as she wished. The Rebel Romanov is an inspiring tale of a bold woman who, until now, has been forgotten by history. Ooh, yeah, I've kind of vaguely heard about this woman in passing, so yeah, I didn't know about all this. Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about this woman because she sounds pretty crazy. So you guys, that is it for the books I'm looking forward to in 2025. In the comments below, are you guys looking forward to any of these books in particular, or do you have a whole different list? Let me know what you're looking forward to so I can go check them out on Goodreads. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.